ecosystem launch event. My name is Richard Spires. For those of you who haven't had a chance to meet, I am the CEO of the company. And it's great to have such a wonderful turnout of our clients, prospects, partners, of course our employees. Thank you all. We've got we're not going to take too much of your time, but we've got a few speakers. But I want to make one acknowledgement. Mr. Kevin Grunike, who is our chairman of the board. I don't see Kevin right now. There he is, right there. He has come in from Utah for this event, so thank you very much, Kevin, for doing that. Really appreciate that. The other thing I want to do before introducing our first speaker is we've got a great set of our partners here. And when I came in as the CEO, with the changes we're trying to drive, one of the first things I recognized is we can't do it all by ourselves. For the clients we're serving and what we're trying to do for them and supporting them in workforce development, we need to have great partners. And oh, by the way, we really do. And I just want to quickly read the list of the partners we have. A number of them have tables set up across the hallway there in that other room. I would urge you all to go, just walk around, get to meet some of them. They would appreciate it, and I think you would learn some very good things about the offerings that they have. But our partners that are here represented tonight include CompTIA, ISC Squared, PeopleCert, IC Agile, IT Pro TV, Logical Operations, the DevOps Institute, Mission Critical Institute, ACT-IACT, and Suntiva. And I really want to mention Suntiva. My congratulations to Suntiva. Just to you, sir. We want this together. Okay. I would say, and thank you, Henning, but the fact of the matter is Suntiva is a wonderful integrator. They just won a major BPA at the Federal Food and Drug Administration, the FDA. We happen to be on their team, so we're excited to be a subcontractor to them on that award. So congratulations. In the last partner I want to mention is a very special partner to us. When I came on board, made a decision working that we needed to partner with Microsoft. That was really a critical thing we did. And this gentleman behind me, Mr. Heath Brinke, and I am going to ask him to make remarks here in a moment. He was very special in working with us over the last couple of years to get us into the partner program and get us to a gold partner in a very rapid pace. So thank you for that very much, Heath. It's all you. And now he's just gotten a new job. He is now the Global Learning Engagement Manager for Microsoft. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Heath Brinke. Okay?
Thank you. Yeah, so it's a real pleasure to be here and supporting a partner that I've been working with for a number of years now. Our relationship actually goes back more than a decade. I'm glad that we finally got over the hump and moved forward with a formal partnership with LearningTree. But they've been really delivering services, around Microsoft training for, many, many years. And so they've been a value to our ecosystem, regardless of whether you've been a formal partner or not. So I want to thank all of you that are here today as well. I'm going to spend just a couple of minutes with you today talking about the culture at Microsoft, because we are seeing rapid change and innovation in the market. I think the term digital transformation is heavily used today. One that I think if you really look inside our core mission and culture, you would see that there's a new kind of momentum and energy at Microsoft around learning and skills. And I would only imagine that the customers and partners that are in this room are here for that reason alone, and that is, how are we skilling employees of our companies or the future workers for our businesses of the future. So again, I know that this is, there's a large audience in the back, so I might have to read a couple of slides for you, but Microsoft's mission is to empower every person in every organization to achieve more. Well, I think it's Satya Nadella, who's our CEO. He came on just a number of years ago, right? And really talked about a change in culture and this idea of growth mindset. He's a gentleman that really believes wholeheartedly in the aspect of learning. And so when you sit down with Satya, the first thing that he'll ever tell you is that I start more books than I ever complete, right? Because he believes that much in the power of learning. And so with that, he's really instilled a new culture inside of Microsoft. And one of his top priorities that he's instilled inside the company is one around learning and readiness. And so if we look across kind of our pillars, our mobile and cloud solutions, you will see that we are embracing digital transformation, and we're going to market with a very solution-oriented approach. Many of those you've probably heard, whether it's around the modern workplace and the user, business applications, or even what's really driving cloud adoption, apps and infrastructure and data and AI. What we're really looking at here in terms of learning is how can we empower experiences of the individuals, the users, the workforce of today, so that we can be empowered to do more with that digital transformation and the new technologies that are coming into market. So with that change comes opportunity. I'm going to take a few minutes and kind of talk to you a little bit about what my business group, the Worldwide Learning Organization, we are focused on 3 audiences primarily. Our internal users at Microsoft, so our technical resources, our partners, and as well as our customers. And so specifically our team is responsible for building the content, the curriculum that's used in the classrooms that many of you or your employees are seeing today through your experience with LearningTree, but also the certifications that we are bringing into market as well that correspond to these emerging job roles. And so I'm going to spend a few minutes talking to you a little bit about how we've adapted and innovated across the Worldwide Learning Organization. But before I do, I want to start with just a bit of a landscape of why this is important to Microsoft. Not only do we want Microsoft to be the cloud platform of choice, right? But we also recognize that there is a widening gap around skills. So if you look at the slide, and those in the back can't see it, but one of the remarks I'll make is 800 million individuals needing to learn new skills by the year 2020. That's an astounding number, right? When we think about how technology is changing and adapting so rapidly, LinkedIn Learning is telling us that there's 800 million people that are going to need to learn a new skill for the job that they're performing either today, or the 65% of new people that are coming into market, the millennials that will be representing 65% of the workforce over the next decade, learning new skills at jobs that don't even exist today. And so this is a very daunting task for Microsoft, is to look at how are we enabling these communities of the future with Microsoft technologies and through our partners. And so we had to take a step back and rethink how we approach learning. For those of you who are in here, you can show with a raise of your hands that you've either been to a Microsoft official course or you've sent us an employee to a course. I would imagine it's quite a number of people in this classroom or in this space. Well, those classes of the past were ones that were very product oriented, right? You had to go to a SQL Server course or a Windows Server or a Microsoft Office course. Well, as we transition to software as a service, we are taking an approach to be very learner obsessed. We want to know that we're building the right products, programs, and services that meet with the individual, how they want to learn, where they want to learn, and when they want to learn. And so we are fostering this culture of change with our partners, those likes of LearningTree here, to build capability and develop empowered learning solutions for this new landscape that that's charting forward. We want to fuel growth and innovation for our customers. And so with that, we are designing new products and new programs and services to enable our learning partners to bring to you, our customers. So I'll share with you in short, as I kind of wrap up the few minutes here that I have, we are taking a much more rigorous approach to building job role related content. So instead of building product content, we've gone out, we've spoken to many of you in here, not only our partners, but our customers, as well as our trainers, if there's any trainers in here, to find out what does someone do today in their job? What's their job-related tasks? And let's build content and training and capabilities that maps to the job the job that you're performing today. We want to align those experiences to how you want to learn, whether you want to learn online, whether you want to learn in a classroom, how you want to receive feedback, whether that's through performance-based testing, whether it's through immediate validation through hands-on labs that you're performing and completing in these classes. All with the idea that we want to recognize those accomplishments and those skills that the individuals are learning. Those recognitions can then also become discoverable for you as an individual. Microsoft made a strategic acquisition a few years back with LinkedIn. We're partnering with that business group to really share out individual successes when they complete courses and pass certifications, so that we can find that they're discoverable and that we can champion their successes, not only for themselves, but also back to your organizations. And so as you take the time to put yourselves through experiences with Learning Tree, or whether you've got employees that are coming in to participate in those events, we anticipate that the new content, the new rigor, the innovation that we've put forth, and the innovation that the folks here at Learning Tree have put forth in bringing out the new 21st century's approach to learning services, that you'll find that we've transformed along with this digital transformation, and we're bringing new programs and services that are applicable to today's workforce and environment. That's all I have for you today. I want to thank you. I'm happy to take any conversations or questions now or at the end, or while we're mingling a little bit later in the afternoon. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Keith. And what we'll do is at the end, let's hold our questions to the end, and then you can ask questions of any of us, any of the speakers. So yeah, I would just reiterate, it's great to see the innovation that Microsoft has been bringing to the learning space, and we're happy to be able to work closely with them. We also thought it'd be important to showcase a major customer who we think is doing just phenomenal work in learning and in developing their staff. And this is a great client of ours, and like to say a partner of ours, Booz Allen Hamilton. And so we're very pleased that Mr. Jim Hengen, who's the Senior Associate for Learning and Development with Booz Allen Hamilton, was able to join us tonight. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jim to make some remarks as well. Thank you.
Sound check is okay? Volume okay? All right, well, thank you very much for that. Let me get here. So as Richard says, I'm Jim Hengen with Booz Allen Hamilton. So give you a little context about my role, the organization, and then I'll...
I think you have to try, are you in the microphone?
In the microphone?
There
A little closer. All right. So to give you a little context, so within my role, I oversee learning and development for Booz Allen Hamilton in the functional learning space. So that's all the technical training for 25,000 plus consultants. Booz Allen Hamilton, we're structured across key capabilities such as analytics, such as digital solutions, consulting, engineering and science, and cyber. And we service many markets. Booz Allen Hamilton's a 100-plus-year-old management consulting organization. As I said, we have over 25,000 staff. I was at a meeting yesterday with recruiting. This year alone, we hired 6,500 people. Next year, we're going to hire 7,000, and that's not slowing down year over year. So when you ask me what keeps me awake at night, it's that. So when Paul and Richard reached out to me and asked if I could speak, I wanted to kind of talk about some topics that are on top of my mind today. And when I was thinking about what could I share inside 10 minutes to you and give you some nuggets of information that maybe you could walk away with. But let me start by first saying, in terms of our relationship with Learning Tree, we've heard the word partnership several times tonight. So we've been partnered with Learning Tree for many years. I oversee all our partnerships and relations within L&D. And we challenged these guys not too long ago to kind of help us solve some very specific needs, put it out to them. They really stepped up to the plate, and it's helped really evolve some of their capabilities, and it's really helping me. I'm a huge proponent of outsourcing. You'll hear through this. I don't like to own content unless I have to. The total cost of ownership related to that, it doesn't work well for me. So let's talk about some of the workforce analytics and challenges we face and how we use that to inform the learning and development strategy. And Heath, when just so you know, Heath and I just met tonight, like 10 minutes ago. We don't know each other, although we learned we have similar experiences, we know similar people. You'll see my presentation's going to feed right off, and we did not plan this, so it just kind of worked out. So I'm just sharing a few slides here. So when we have all sorts of analytics and understanding current staff, available staff. Available staff means those who aren't on billable projects in between, and how are we going to upskill or reskill them and get them ready for new work. And all the new hires that we're bringing on, either university hires or experienced hires. And you've got to imagine, we have all sorts of hires. I've got military generals coming into Booz Allen Hamilton, and we recruit a lot from the military, from the government, from the commercial workforce, through top universities. So I have a cross-section of every generation. I have to think about how they learn and how we can upskill them. And so as we think about skills, right now we're coming to the end of our fiscal year, and leading up to that, we're doing deep dive needs analysis on understanding what are the big bets for next year. Where are we going? What are the skill needs? What are the gaps? So we try to have a variety of conversations. We have a variety of sources of input to inform this. And as we look at the needs, and when we sit down with the leaders, from our perspective, we sit them down, we talk about, let's focus on the roles and where the critical needs. We talk about role-based learning. I'm sharing an example here. I'm just going to use the role of a data scientist. So within analytics, we have our taxonomies, we have a variety of job families, and within those job families, we have a variety of job roles. For us, data science is huge. Just so you're aware, we are hiring and training to have upwards of 5,000 data scientists inside 3 years. We will be the #1 organization around that particular competency. So what are we doing to make that work? So as I look at our open job recs, and I take a look at data science, and I look at all the job profiles, I take that information, and we're using tools now, a little hard to see, but we're trying to deconstruct and understand what are the top skills to perform that particular role. And we prioritize it. So I'm looking at machine learning, I'm looking at Python, AI, Hadoop, big data, data mining. And then we take this information and we bring it to the most senior stakeholders, we bring it to the subject matter experts, and have them validate, do we have the right information? Are these the key skills? What you don't see here, maybe the proficiencies they need to be at to perform that job, so we get that level of data from them. Once we have this, it starts then to help us shape where are we investing our time and energy, what kind of content and learning experience are we going to create. Other analytics I look at, so we put our money where our mouth is. So we use machine learning models, and we have a projection. We're looking at what are the top skills I need to be thinking about, not today, but 2 years from now. As I look at that, I got Kubernetes, I got quantum computing, piano, some skills and topics you might not be familiar with. And I sit down, we talk to leaders, where are these being used? What's the audience? And again, as they validate this, it's going to shape what content I need to be ready for to prepare for that. And just to give you a real life example, quantum computing. So I literally just got an email 2 days ago from somebody within the business who said, hey, I built this great quantum computing course. I'd love for L&D to take it over and share it with internal staff. Whenever I get that request, I tend to say no. I don't want to own content. I'm like, who teaches that course? Just you? Yeah, just me. How do I scale just you? That doesn't work. But the sheer fact that quantum computing is on my radar right now, I'm going to talk to him because that is content it looks like I need to have. It's because it's data informed. I have this information that tells us we need to be thinking about that. So I'm talking to their leadership about how they're using this, how and so forth, and we're taking all that, and then we may look at his course and other products that we can then bring to bear around quantum computing. So as I say that to you, as we take all this information, as we look at what are the priority roles, what are the priority skills, I use that then to think about the content experience. What do I have internally within Booz Allen Hamilton? Then I think about the content ecosystem on the outside. So then I will look at a learning tree, look at your portfolio solutions, and how can we plug you in to solve some of these particular problems. And it's not just that, we also think about the overall personalized learning experience and how we bring that together. You know, so as in any organization, you have your own particular platforms that you put together, and we're doing the best we can to ensure that. So we try to support 3 areas of needs. One is a self-directed learning experience. So that if I internally want to grow my skills and abilities, we surface that, all right, data scientists, here are the key skills, here's the content and topics, and how to access that. Make it seamless and easy for those individuals. The other is kind of on-demand experiences where we have teams that come to us and say, I got a team of 50 data scientists I need to train. Although last year they came to us and said they need 5,000. Okay, let's see if we can make that work. And then the other is very specific business initiatives. So one example, yesterday, and I'll share this with you, Paul, our CFO was interviewed by the Wall Street Journal to talk about this very topic. How is Booz Allen looking at the workforce, where the skill needs? So we were giving him data points to use for that particular interview. One project that we just launched, in our world, we have a huge challenge around having enough cleared professionals to do the work. Many of you deal with that issue in this room. So one of the leaders was telling me how many millions of dollars he was losing because he could not plug in staff to fulfill particular projects around data science. So we put together an initiative to identify clear professionals that had aptitude to be successful in data science. They may not have had the skills. We normally would turn them away. You're missing this, this, and this. We said, you know what? Let's hire you with a clearance, the aptitude to be successful, and then marry the skills. On the backside, you're getting placed onto the billable work. So we have 25 professionals going through an 8-week program as we speak, and it's a whole new model that we hadn't really tried before. The business commits to not just hiring them, but placing them immediately. So we have this whole process, and we leverage a curriculum that we have. So everything from how to be a consultant, how to use Python and data science. And now every leader in the business is like, wow, can you do this for cloud? Can you use this for software development, bot and software development, cloud architects, name it. And then we're going to try to replicate that model. But it all starts on how we look at the workforce needs top level, use the data to shape the conversations that we have with the business leaders across the business. And then from there, our role within L&D after that point is then to construct the content and curate the experience. Curate, it's an overused word in L&D, I'm so sorry. But that's actually what we do at the end of the day. So just a little background there on that. And I'll answer any questions afterwards. So I want to thank you for having me in this short discussion. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Jim. And it's very impressive what Booz is doing for their workforce, and we're pleased to be part of that and part of that team. So now I want to move and spend a little bit of time with you to introduce to you what we're calling our learning ecosystem reimagined. But before I do that, I want to spend a little bit of time, and it picks up on some of the themes that we just heard from both Heath and Jim about where is the industry, what's really going on. And we love this quote from Benjamin Franklin, investment in knowledge pays the best interest. And there was a man way ahead of his time, right? I mean, it was certainly true then, but is it not even more so the case now? And when you look at what's going on from a training perspective and how important it is becoming incredibly important for those of us in the knowledge industry in particular regarding the ability to attract employees and ability to retain employees, right? Many of you, I don't have to say that, but here's some stats around that. But perhaps even more important, I think for almost every industry today, the ability to deliver and you leverage technology in your business, to reimagine your business, to go through digital transformation is so key. And that does not happen without a very skilled, capable workforce with a diverse set of skills. And I'll come back to that a little bit later. So it is imperative, and I think that is becoming more and more critical and recognized across almost every industry that certainly we deal with here in Learning Tree. So let's say, though, that this is not easy, right? I mean, challenges that are facing organizations today, there's a war for talent, especially in this area, right, in the Washington, D.C. area, but really across the world. There's estimates of a couple million openings within cybersecurity across the world right now. So there's a war for talent. So you're actually, how do you distinguish yourself as an organization to be able to attract and keep the best and the brightest for growing your own business? And we see that acutely as we work with our customers. And what's even more interesting is it not the case. I mean, I keep thinking, I've been in IT my whole career. I keep thinking, oh, things are going to start to level out. And then there's always, seems like there's the next, quantum computing, there's always the next big thing coming that's going to transform us. And it really does. It's incredible. I mean, we live in a world of science fiction based on what I remember in the 1980s, what we're doing now, right? So it keeps going faster, and this is a really interesting chart. So this is a study that was done that says we've crossed the line, that technology now is outpacing our ability as humans to actually adapt to it, okay? That it is accelerating at such a pace that we can't really keep up with that. That's an interesting point, but that's kind of where we're at. And what does that really mean from a learner experience, okay? It is both, I think, for corporations in particular, the biggest threat to them if they don't react well to this, but it's also the biggest opportunity they have, all right? And I love this quote from this Chief Learning Officer from JP Morgan Chase. We're in a period where the premium for more innovative and effective corporate learning designs and solutions has never been more important. So I think that's great for a company like Learning Tree, because that's exactly what we're trying to do, okay? We're trying to provide corporations and government agencies better learning solutions for them on an effective basis. So a lot of innovation going on in the training space right now, in the workforce development space. You can see here, and I'm not going to try to read this chart, but just we're into now a lot of digital learning, right? We're moving toward a model where more and more learning will be in the flow of work, kind of just as you need it kind of model. That's where we're headed, right? But that's where we're saying we're going. That's great. But where are most organizations right now, okay? They're experiencing what Heath said so articulately. We got a bigger and bigger skills gap that they're facing, right? And what are they doing about it? Well, some organizations like Booz Allen and Hamilton are really dealing with it, I think, effectively, but a lot of organizations are struggling, particularly in the technology skills, where that skills gap is actually accelerating over time. And so this is an imperative. I think this is a true imperative for most companies. And now let's flip the model and talk just a second about the worker themselves. So particularly those that are younger coming into the workforce, they're very impatient, right? They want things now, they want to learn now. That is what they expect based on the tools that they have at their fingertips, okay? Many of them are overwhelmed, okay? Overwhelmed coming into the work environment, trying to learn new things. And what's interesting is across the board, and I'm not trying to say it's across all organizations, certainly not, but if you go across the board, that 1% number there, that represents the amount of time that they're given typically on the job per week to enhance their skills and abilities. So it's kind of ironic. On the one hand, we know it's incredibly the most important imperative, yet most companies, organizations are not really doing the investment that they should be into their people. So how can we deal with this? So what's going on today, all right? What do we see, all right? We are traditionally have been a company that has valued instructor-led training. We've got a great set of instructors, some of them in this room, but a lot of organizations have moved to e-learning, okay? This is self-paced, don't need an instructor, do it by yourself. And that sounds like the ideal solution, right? They can do it off hours, they can do it at lunch, they can learn, we can get these certificates, whatever we need. Sounds like it's a panacea. And by the way, we've got a great partner like IT Pro TV, I just mentioned. You know, they've got great content, and we do believe in e-learning, but it's necessarily not enough. And why is that? Well, it takes a special person, particularly in technical disciplines or in disciplines that require a lot of attention to detail, to learn that way, to do it with self-paced learning by yourself with no other help. Look at these rates of completion, okay? I won't even talk about how much they retain, but full completion rates of no more than 25% typically. A lot of people don't even begin courses when they're in that kind of mode and asked to take them. So while it's a tool, it's an important tool, and it's a good tool, it's not enough. And we're seeing that in real world situations that we're dealing with. Now, what does work? What absolutely works, and this was a study done, they called it social learning, but this is really what we would call a blended learning approach. Bringing together, you can use e-learning, but bringing experts to bear in a classroom or in coaching and mentoring. Social networks, the use of the internet itself to be able to learn. learning on the job, learning with your peers, bringing all that together, astounding ROI ratio versus just doing something only with an e-learning model, okay? So we have become a true believer that the use of a social learning approach, that the use of a blended learning approach, different modalities, is the right model, particularly when you can tailor it to the individual. Some individuals love to learn by themselves and are very good at it. Many of us need to be much more in a social environment to learn well. This multimodal or blended learning model is really starting to catch on, okay? There was a study done recently that 35% improvement if you compared it to just doing on-demand e-learning or you just did instructor-led. When you started to combine these things together, you start to get a real uplift. 86% of organizations are blending frequently at this point. So we're seeing this happening. Every week we see RFPs that we respond to. I don't care if it's government or industry now. Almost always they have some element of a blended learning model that they want from us. So the world has changed rapidly in this, and we need to respond as a leading learning development company. So let's talk about a specific example. We do work for the Mayo Clinic. Many of you would probably know the Mayo Clinic, one of the world's leading health institutions. They had a library of on-demand that they were trying to actually use for their developers, their software developers using an on-demand product to try to teach themselves. Needless to say, that wasn't going so well. They called us in and said, what can you guys do? We said, well, let's not eliminate the on-demand, let's use that. But what we did was we took some of our courses, we customized those courses to work with the on-demand content. We built special exercises for them. We built some capstone projects on the end of this, put cadres through about a 6-week kind of regimen, and astounding success. More than 90% of more than 150 people got through this program, and the skills assessment scores at the end of the program were multiples, 3.7 times what they were had they just gone through the use of the on-demand content alone. So this model works, okay, and it can rapidly change how you learn, and it can rapidly change for both the individual and for an organization. But we need to be able to do it, right? This is what our clients want. Lead Learning Tree need to be able to offer this. And so we've studied, looking at the top 10 learning methods today. I'm not going to go through them all, but you could probably guess what most of those are. And say, how do we bring these together in a model that's compelling? And that's what we're calling our new learning ecosystem, okay? And the idea here is to have a platform, we're calling it a learning management platform, okay, that allows us to both work with individual learners, okay? The tree and the different branches represent different ways in which they can learn. So these different modalities, the blended learning model coming together. So for an individual learner, but just as critical, we're seeing in these RFPs, we're seeing organizations need to help transform themselves, okay? You can learn individual by individual, but if you're trying to transform and be an agile development shop, if you're trying to transform and really go through a digital transformation, it's about a team, right? It's about an organizational change you need to drive. And we're there also to help you do that, okay? So it's trying to play both of these. It's helping the individual, but it's also helping the organization through that change. And that's the really big change. Now, in the middle there, after we're done, we're gonna highlight for you a learning management platform solution on that screen there in the middle that you can come and see what we're doing, because this is a part of it. It's bringing together all of our capabilities and then automating that for users, okay, and automating that for the organization as well. And we're going to showcase us doing that through our learning management platform for great work we're doing at the state of Tennessee. We were selected a number of years ago to run what is called their IT Academy. They have more than 1,700 individuals in IT across the state agencies that we are working with. Okay, we worked with the state of Tennessee to develop more than 25 different learning paths based on their job roles. And we've laid those down, and we offer a suite of courses and a blended learning model for them And what's really great about this program is that after we go back 3 months and we survey those attendees that have gone through a learning path and are back on the job, they themselves say they are 27% more effective in what they're doing on their job based on going through that training, that workforce development. So we're doing this at scale, okay? And what you're going to see, if you take a look at our learning management platform and the instantiation we've done for the state of Tennessee, is a live use that's literally handling thousands of people. So what is our difference? We talked about that learning ecosystem, the ability to support the different modalities of learning, that blended learning at an individual level, supporting the organization. Let me talk about a couple other things. We're more than a 40-year-old organization that have helped organizations through transformations like these, okay? So we bring that wealth of knowledge. We've got a great instructor corps, 600 plus instructors worldwide. We don't hire them full-time employees. What we do is we go out and get consultants that are working in the field, that are real-world practitioners that also love to teach. And that we seek those people out. We work closely with them to train them in a way that they can be highly effective in our classroom or virtually for us. They can do coaching and mentoring for us. They can even do consulting, all right? Sometimes we embed some of our instructors in change initiatives where that makes sense. We also are global, okay? We can scale. I talked about the state of Tennessee example. We've got a worldwide operations. We handle a major organization last year that we trained in 21 different countries. We can scale. And so when you put together this blended learning model, the ability to do it with our learning management platform, a great instructor corps of experts, and our ability to scale, we believe we set ourselves apart from anybody else in the industry today. And lastly, I also want to say, I want to put another plug out there for our partners, okay? We got a great set of partners that help us scale. And I gotta apologize to Isaka, when I read my list, somehow I missed your name, but another great partner for us, okay? You know, and just quickly, many times organizations are turning to us, not saying, hey, we're from the L&D organization, we just need your training help. Many organizations now we're going through a major agile transformation. We're going through a major IT modernization. And those organizations need help, okay? They recognize that they don't necessarily have all the skills and abilities they need. We're a company not about doing it for them, we're a company about helping them so they can do it themselves, okay? That's what we're all about. And by the way, it's not just about technical skills. It's not just about process skills like good project management or good service management. There's that interpersonal skills part too. The leadership, the professional development, the ability to collaborate, work well in teams. These kinds of training, these kinds of workforce development become critical when you're trying to transform an organization. And so we believe that we're well positioned to support organizations, as I say, to be a partner from a workforce development standpoint in major change and transformation initiatives. So we're on this journey. We've evolved a lot. We're a different learning tree than we were 4 or 5 years ago. Obviously, we got to run as fast as anybody, right? We got to keep evolving, keep innovating, keep bringing tremendous value to our clients, okay? So it's great that you were all able to join us. Thank you for your time and attention. At this time, what I'd like to do is open it up for any questions for Heath, Jim, or myself, if there are any questions. Don't want to keep you too long. We've got plenty of cocktails and food, and hope you can stick around and visit our partners and see our learning management platform. Okay? Question? Yes, sir.
Richard Samuel, Masterburg. Just out of curiosity, what is the average investment for the learning management platform?
We've been working on this. I'm sorry, when you say average investment, could you qualify that? What do you?
So what would an organization need to spend to be able to take advantage of that platform?
Well, you know, what we do is really we use that as a delivery vehicle, okay? So we don't charge directly for the learning management platform, okay? We will work with an organization. You can see what we've done for the state of Tennessee. You know, for our larger clients, we will work with you to customize it to your needs, okay? And because it allows us to help better manage the delivery of our services to that particular client. So it's not something we charge for directly, but it's all part of the package that we bring together for a client. Other questions for any of us? Okay, you all went back to the bar, I get it. And that's great. All right, thank you so much for attending. I think it's a great audience.